when you look at that, the rhythm is a little complicated, but what's happening here with the bass?
It's very simple.
Boom, 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 like in my example that I showed, right? So
Hmm.
this can be a great way to do a backup or even a little something kind of like an echo. This is kind of like an echo. It's actually very simple. And if people don't know exactly where to put the bass, we can help with where to put the bass on which notes to put it. But the whole idea of having this background little beat is really easy to do. Now, instead of using just one note for the bass here, you used the three main notes. For those of you who weren't in the class before, the three main notes in harmony that you usually hear in the bass are do, fa, and so. So you stuck to those. And so basically, without what's happening here is without even filling in the harmony, we already hear it. And this is going to be key to writing some of these chorus kind of things. Sometimes you may not write out all the harmony notes, but you should be able to hear where it's going, what it is. And that happens here. This is a 1, going to the 5, 4, 5, 1. Okay? So those who have studied in the harmony class would get that. If you don't get that, that's fine. Just get the idea of we're going to be able to write some simple things in the bass. And this is the simplest way to do an echo. It's not an exact echo, but it is, it's echoing the words, and you just have this simple note in the bass. It's the simplest way. It's a good way to start doing an echo. So let's hear the song. Where do I have it? I wonder if I
You
moved.
know what's sad is I didn't even realize that I'm the 145. I knew that somewhat sounded like it should belong there, but I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh, yeah, well, that means once again that our brains know it sometimes better than we do. So it's just a matter of like, as you work with it, you start to recognize it. There we go. I moved it to my
That's right.
drop
Yeah.
box. Okay, let's listen to it.
All things work together for good to them that love the Lord,
Repeat it.
who've been called according to the purpose of the
Now listen to this
Lord.
part.
There is nothing need fear, for the Savior is always
All
here,
right,
and
let me stop that. And let's write that down. So
That was a pedal tone, wasn't it?
exactly, that's right. So let's copy the bottom part, which I hadn't yet. Okay, so let's get to the beginning. Repeat, right? Which is a great way to get in our heads. Oh, wow. Jackie wants to learn on Sunday. You have to finish it quick, Brother Stephen.
Oh,
We have an order. Don't worry, we'll learn it soon when we have it written out. Yeah, we're having singing practice again on Sundays for a little half an hour, but it's nice. We've been able to practice some different ones. Okay,
Well,
so
it's good to do that.
yes. So let's see. Let's just hear what key we're in here again. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, can you sing the next part for me? I'll be writing as you do it. There is nothing.
Yeah. There is nothing you need fear, for the Father is always near.
Okay, let's just go that far for now.
Okay.
All right. So what's happening to the
Sounding good.
yeah. So what's happening to the bass while we're doing that?
The bass is just pedal toning it.
Okay. So like and now let's listen to it, right? What is the bass pedal toning? Let's see if you can figure it out.
There's nothing, nothing you need fear, for the Savior is always near.
Ba-da-da-da-da. What note is that I went up to? Ba-da-da-da-da.
Is maybe the so.
Okay, what feeling does it have? Ba-da-da-da-da.
Hmm.
So I'll help you a little bit. I don't know if you noticed, but it could in there. Not that it does, but it could.
Just
Ba-da-da-da-da.
going to the do?
That's do. That's right. So that's that feeling. If you can tell that it could in there, that's a do. Okay?
Oh, okay.
So and what word did that happen? Can you sing the bass for me? There
Let's see.
is. Uh-huh.
And there is okay. So yeah.
There is.
There is nothing you need. Listen.
You're singing higher. There is. That would be
Okay.
your note. There is nothing.
Nothing you need
Right.
fear, for the
Okay, so
Father's
right
always.
here is where we would have the do. And this is in a different, we raise it up a little bit. You need, see. So. The presence of the Lord. There is.
There is nothing you need fear
Right. So
for.
here's where the do is, right? What comes before
Okay.
that? Give you two guesses.
And one so.
That's right. Perfect. That's it. That's right. That would be the main one. Okay. So let's listen to it. And actually, just so let's see. Let me do a little funny thing here so that we will start off with this every time. I'm just going to move this to the next page so we can always start off right there. There is nothing. Okay. And then, what do you know? Watch this.
Nice and easy.
What happens, right? So, again, kind of what you were mentioning before about how simple it is. You did it too when you sang the bass here. Same idea, right? Your brain knew it already. All right, sounds nice.
Yeah,
And
so you're doing fabulous.
well, I'm not doing anything. I'm just writing down what you did. Right? Now, again, if you look at it, and this is something that everybody can get for their songs, okay? When you sing it, like the one that Alex did was pretty complicated. Da, 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 right? And I
Mhm.
wrote it down for him. I don't know if I still have it here. Where is it? Yeah, look at. I wrote it down for him. It has all these little, syncopated rhythms, but he had no problem singing that rhythm, right? So it may be tricky to write down, but it's not really tricky to sing. And when you guys record your choruses, this kind of thing might happen. You might not know how to write down the rhythm, but you can sing it pretty easy, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
Brother Stephen, you're probably in between that because you have started learning how to write down the rhythms, but it takes time to figure out how to do some of them, right?
No, yes, sir.
Mhm. So when you look at that, the rhythm is a little complicated, but what's happening here with the bass?
It's very simple.
Boom, 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 like in my example that I showed, right? So
Hmm.
this can be a great way to do a backup or even a little something kind of like an echo. This is kind of like an echo. It's actually very simple. And if people don't know exactly where to put the bass, we can help with where to put the bass on which notes to put it. But the whole idea of having this background little beat is really easy to do. Now the trick to it, what comes up, and I think again you did this automatically because you've been working with this kind of thing before. What's the words again? There
There
is
is nothing you need to fear.
you need fear. So and then that would be a slur, right?
Yes, sir.
Oops. For the say
Uh, uh,
father. It's father. Okay.
I've kind of gone back and forth from time to time with Father and Savior, but
Yes. Is always near, right?
mhm.
Let's give it a little space. Slur
And a
it.
slur.
What's that?
And a slur, yeah.
And sometimes these get a little off. We can move this around. So that's the kind of thing I would do later, but just so we can see it clearly, right? Okay,
Mhm.
so then the challenge of that is this may not always match up with the words. And if I remember right, I think you even changed the words. So you say,
I may have.
there is nothing you need fear, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then next part.
For the Father's
For
always here.
the fathers, you had to do that, right?
Hmm.
So you had to change something. And this is usually what happens. Because the rhythm might not match exactly, you have to figure out a way to make the syllables match. So in this case, we took father is, we took two syllables and made it one, right?
Yes, sir.
Sometimes you might take a word out, sometimes you might add a word. So that's something to just keep in mind when we do an echo. There will be times that we do a little change, and that little change is what's going to help us make it match, which you did automatically, right? So it's a great example for everybody to see. Um, Again, if for those watching, if you want help where to put your pedal tone, that's what we call, or where to put this little beat, we can tell you where, but the idea of making it is real easy. So yep. And for those who are more advanced, the idea is this is a 5. Even though we haven't filled it out yet, this is a 5 chord. If I was going to fill harmony, there'd be a 5, but my brain knows that because it hears the so here and these notes fit in the 5.
But where I get lost is I can know what chord I'm working with, but I have no idea once I've done this bass on a totally different rhythm than the melody. I
Right.
don't know where to put the alto and tenor. Do they go with the melody? Do they go with the bass, or is something else involved?
Yes, and it could go either way. So that's an excellent question, right? And we'll talk about that later. But for now, it actually sounds really good with just these two parts, right?
Yeah, it works. Yeah.
Really quick, this measure, again, this for the more advanced, but what chord is it?
That measure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is. It looks like a one, except for the
You're
Father.
you're exactly right, and this would be a suspension. The fa mi right there. Does
Hmm.
that look familiar?
Yes, sir.
And suspensions are great with two parts. It adds something to it. Yeah. And so then, yeah, 5 and 1. Okay, so for those more advanced, you can follow the chords, and for if not, just the idea that you can do this very simple rhythm that echoes. So let's just listen one more time to what it sounds like.
There is nothing, not even if fear, for the Savior is always near.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then it continues. Then together.
that's the promise of the Lord.
And then that's what usually happens. We decide, when am I going to bring it back together, right? Some songs, the echo will continue all the way to the end, but some songs, it'll bring back together in harmony, and that's what you did there. So any questions about that? We showed a lot of options. And these are some things that I want to do specifically with a Steban song, with probably with Daniel and Abdiel's song, para siempre. They could do with that, and Hal's song. So if maybe those folks could be thinking about it, I think there'd be a great way that we could put in these very simple. It doesn't even have to be a lot of notes. Sometimes just be like at the beginning, it was just a couple notes, right? Dum, dum, dum. Da, 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 da. Something as simple as that, right? Can really make the song work. So yeah, any last minute questions before we wrap up?
Hey, just out of curiosity, because I like to understand words based on their origin and terms based on their origin. So pedal tone, does that have anything to do with the typical drum set that a rock band has, where the guy's hitting that pedal and getting that boom, 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 boom?
No, it comes from an organ.
Oh, okay.
So if you're to look it up, be the best thing, go to YouTube, look up pedal tone. And the way organs were played, they have pedals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these bass notes often would be played by a pedal. That's where the idea comes from.
Okay.
And pedal tones are great for like really creating drama while the harmony changes, but the pedal stays the same. And it can refer to any note that stays the same. All the others keep, and usually it's in the bass. And this like really would not be referred to as a pedal tone, probably because it moves, right?
Okay.
The idea when you get the pedal tone is something like this. And it still moves a bit, but yeah, it's a pedal tone for a while. And then the one in the example I gave would be even more of a pedal tone, because it just goes all the way constant.
It sure did.
All right. Great.